Hi everybody, this is Rune. Welcome to this tutorial where we're going to continue the plan drawing of our house. Today we're going to be drawing the windows, but before we get to that, I actually just want to talk a little bit about layers. Now if we go to the layers panel, which is this other tab over here on the right called layers, you can see that we have a list of layers in our Rhino file. Right now we only have a layer called default. You might have some other layers, but you've probably also been drawing on the layer called default so far. Now I can create more layers by clicking on this button over here called new layer. Let me create a layer called background image and another layer called walls. Now you might remember that we locked our background image so that we couldn't select it or move it around. Let me just unlock that because I want to select it so that I can move it to the layer background image. I'm going to show you 3 ways of moving an object. The first one is having the object selected, clicking the properties panel, going down to layer, and then on this drop down menu clicking background image. Now this image is on the background image layer. Let me just undo that. Another way is to select the object you want to move, type change layer, and then select the layer where you want to put the objects on and clicking OK. Now you can see it also changed up here, changed to background image. The last way to do it, and the way that I usually do it, is to select the object, go to the layers panel, and then right clicking the layer I want to move it to, and then selecting change object layer. That means that now this object has been moved to that layer. Now with the background image on the background image layer, we can do stuff that applies to the whole layer, like using these icons over here, the little light bulb, which can hide and show, or the little lock, which can lock and unlock. So that goes for everything on that layer will be locked if I click here. So in effect, it's the same thing as typing lock, but I can just do it to all the objects on a layer at the same time. That's handy if I select our walls and then right click on walls, change object layer, and then click lock. Now everything is locked and I didn't have to select all of the different geometry and type lock. And I can easily unlock it by clicking over here. Now another feature with layers is that you can give them different colors. And actually I find this black wall color quite hard to see. So let's change it by clicking here and then selecting magenta and clicking OK. You can choose whatever color you like. I just think the magenta pops on this background. Now with that done, let's start drawing our windows. First, let's make a layer called windows. So I'll click new layer and I'll call it windows. And I want to double click that layer and you can see that little tick move down here. And that means that windows is now our active layer. Let's change the color of windows to cyan. And then you can see that if I use the line command and make a line, it's automatically cyan and it's automatically on the Windows layer because that's my active layer right now. Okay, let's zoom in and start drawing our windows. I'm going to zoom in all the way over here and I want to draw these frames first. To do that, I'm going to use the rectangle command. So let me type in rectangle, enter. Now I'm going to assume that these frames are the same width as the walls. So 12 centimeters if you recall. I'm going to click here and then I'm going to select this end as well so that they'll be the same size. And then for width, I'm going to type 12 centimeters, enter. Now I have a perfect square, 12 by 12 centimeters. But actually, if you look closely, I want it to be 2 different frames. I could just draw a line here, but I actually want it to be 2 separate rectangles. So let me scale this down to half the size. I'll select my object, scale, and then I'm going to click on the base point here, and I'm going to type 0.5, which is half. So I'm going to scale it down to half the size. Press enter. Okay, so that's not what I wanted because now I actually have a square that's quarter of the size. What I wanted was a rectangle that was half the size of the square I had before. So let me undo that. What I want to do is scale it in only one dimension. To do that, I can use the scale 1D, one dimension command. Let me press enter here, click on my base point, type 0.5, which is again half, enter. And now you can see that I can choose in which direction to scale by half. So here we get the correct rectangle, but just in the wrong direction. So I'm going to do it actually this axis here. Click. And now you can see I scaled it in that direction, scaled it down by half. From here, I want to copy it so that it hits the wall perpendicularly. So I can turn on my snap perp, copy, click here, and then perp snaps right there. Escape to cancel. And then I want to draw the connecting lines here. So line, space to repeat command. And now you can see that I actually have a similar one over here. So I can just select all of my line work, copy, and copy from one end to the other over here. Now the rest of the windows on this facade are a little different, but again, it's 4 of the same type of window. So if I can draw one, I can draw all of them. Let me just start over here. That seems the most easy way to do it. So I know that the frames that connect to the walls are actually the same. So let me just copy those 2 over here, copy, then click here to copy it from that side of the wall. And let me put it here. And I'll just delete this for now because I'm going to copy this window over to fit the rest of them. Again, I want to copy this over so it touches the wall perpendicularly. And now there's another frame here. There's a little window. Let me just show you. You can see them up here on the elevation. We have the large window frames, and then we have these little windows here. And there's no dimension to show us how wide they are. But if I look over here in the kitchen, I can see that it's roughly the same width as this kitchen counter here. And I know that kitchen counters in Denmark are typically 60 centimeters wide. So that's just what we're going to assume. So from this side to this side is 60 centimeters. If I just copy this 60 centimeters over, you can also see it here that we've actually copied it 1 frame width too far. So if I can just select that one and move it back. And then let me check by using the command distance. Let me measure from here to here. And we can see that it's 600 millimeters. So that's correct. 600 millimeters is 60 centimeters. Let's fill in the different lines here. So line, I'm going to make one here. I'm going to make one here. I'm going to make one here and here. And then we have this line going down the middle. So I can click on my object snap mid and then line and select the midpoint and the midpoint here. Okay, so now we have one window and we can just copy it over 4 times. Let me just select all of that, zoom out, and I will copy. Let's just do it from there. I'll copy it over. Try to be exact, and if the snapping gets in your way, then you should turn off all the stuff you don't need down here. So I'll snap it there, and then escape to cancel. There we go. Then we have the whole facade of our house, and it looks about correct with the drawing. Okay, let's just quickly finish this facade down here. This one's really easy because it's the same windows repeated 8 times. Then there's a sliding door, but we'll draw that in a later video. And actually it's the same one, the 150 centimeter one that we have up here. So I'll just select all of this. And now I know that this window starts 180 centimeters from this wall. And if I copy my window down to that wall and escape to cancel, then select it and then move 180 centimeters and click. Now that should be all right. Let me just check with the distance command. From here to there is 1800 millimeters. So that's correct. And now we can just copy that over and fill in the whole facade. And just keep copying. Escape to cancel. And voila, now we have our windows. That's it for this tutorial. Follow along in the next one where we're going to punch some holes in the walls and actually draw the doors of this house. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.